I wake up in the dormitory attic of Uniwersytet Medyczny im Piastów Śląskich, Wrocławiu, and the first thing I taste is plaster dust, because a plate from the brand new ceiling has landed on my tongue during the night. It is gritty, cold, and tastes like forgotten bones. I cough, and the cough is pink. That is how my day begins, and I already know the school has won again. I open the group chat at 6 in the morning to see if we finally have the timetable. There is nothing, only a pixelated JPEG uploaded at 3:09 a.m. that shows a grid so blurred I need to squint like a grandmother in a candle-lit cottage. The courses are written in Comic Sans, which is the font of clowns, and half the cells just say to be confirmed. I have 4 subjects this semester, and they are spread across 3 different online platforms plus 2 Facebook groups nobody told us about. I try to log in. The university server greets me with a spinning wheel that spins for exactly 7 minutes and then declares session expired. This is bad because when a system refuses to let you inside, it is the same as a person slamming a door in your face. The feeling is rejection, and rejection in the morning hollows out your stomach before breakfast. Breakfast is served in the basement cafeteria. The scrambled eggs are the color of sadness, a pale yellow that has given up on sunshine. They are lukewarm, which means the bacteria are comfortable and multiplying. I poke them, and they jiggle like a corpse on a river. The coffee is burnt, so bitter it curls the edges of my soul. One sip and I feel my kidneys file a complaint. The cashier charges me the price of a full meal, even though I only took an apple, because the system does not allow partial payments. She shrugs, and the shrug says I am a small cog, hate the machine, not me. But I am the one who leaves hungry, so the hate still lands inside my ribs. I walk to the clinical building for my first lecture. The corridor smells of bleach mixed with old meat. The lights flicker like a horror film that never bothered to hire an editor. I pass the locker room and see a sign taped to the door, closed because nobody came to work. Underneath, someone has scribbled story of my life. I want to cry for that stranger, because we are sharing the same slow drip of disappointment. Inside the lecture hall, the professor arrives 23 minutes late, wearing a white coat so wrinkled it looks like it was slept in by a haunted ghost. He does not apologize. Instead, he opens PowerPoint slide number 147, all text, font size 8. He reads every word aloud, but in a mumble, so the syllables melt together like wet tissue. I try to take notes, yet the slide disappears after 12 seconds. When I raise my hand to ask him to go back, he says you should have photographed it. I explain that phones must be switched off according to the same rules he printed. He answers by turning to the next slide. This is what disrespect tastes like. A dry mouth and the heat behind your eyes when you realize the person in power is pretending you are not there. The next class is supposed to be bedside teaching. We are herded into a ward where 6 of us surround one patient who is trying to eat soup. The resident tells us to observe quietly. We stand for 40 minutes. I count the tiles on the floor. 47 are cracked, 23 are missing entirely. Observing means staring at suffering without touching it, which is the exact opposite of healing. When I finally dare to ask if I may palpate the abdomen, the resident laughs and says you first year. No touch, only watch. I am in 3rd year, but the sentence is already out, hanging in the air like a slap. The lesson ends and I have learned nothing except that my hands are considered useless. At lunch I queue for the Dean's office because the credit rules changed overnight. Yesterday we needed 50% on the test, today they demand 70, and the test was last week. T.
The secretary behind the glass speaks through a microphone that crackles like burning plastic. She tells me decisions come from above, I only type. Her eyes are kind, and that kindness makes the injustice sharper, like cutting yourself on a blade wrapped in silk. She prints a form, stamps it, and hands it to me upside down. I sign, but the signature feels like surrender. I meet my friend from the English division in the courtyard. She pays tuition that is triple mine, yet her lecturer speaks Polish during the
Businesses near the Medical University of Piastów Śląskich in Wrocław feel like they were designed by someone who hates joy and studied at the University of making people sad. I will tell you how they are, because if I do not, your wallet will cry and your evening will crawl into a corner and die. Let us begin with the smell of money burning. Sephora in Passa's Grunwaldski is not a beauty store, it is a magic show where 3 mascaras turn into 2 on the receipt, and the assistant pockets the difference while wishing you Merry Christmas. The staff greet you with the warmth of a parking meter. Ask for a sample of a 400 zloty foundation, and they give you a droplet the size of a tear, barely enough to cover one cheek, so you leave half-faced and fully furious. One customer heard the guard warn a colleague to watch the guy in the cap, and he was the only cap in the room. Another was told that 1,000 zloty perfume bottle comes with no tester because we do not receive testers. Yet the manager later admitted they do, but only if you first buy something. The deodorants are shelved between the perfumes, wrapped in identical boxes, priced like champagne if you squint. You pay champagne money for underarm spray. In short, Sephora here teaches students that beauty costs extra honesty. Walk a little farther, and the air smells of eucalyptus and disappointment. Kandara Spa looks like a palace, but inside the robes are cold, the oil is either ice or lava, and the massage feels like someone kneading bread dough while watching a tutorial on their phone. One man booked the same therapist 3 times on the 4th visit. They gave his slot to a hotel guest and parked him in a freezing back room where the masseuse arrived 5 minutes later. Hands like frozen chicken cutlets, oil straight from the fridge. Mid-session, the oil warmer overheated. He left with a grilled thigh and a receipt for 220 zloty. Couples arrive for shared relaxation and are told only one of them exists in the computer. No apology, no alternative, just the sound of love deflating. They sell vouchers that promise a day of bliss, but the reality is a 20-minute mask and a kick out the door. The phone rings all day, nobody answers, probably because the receptionist is hiding under warm towels that paying guests never receive. When hunger strikes, Masala Grill Bar waits with open arms and closed hearts. The biryani arrives after 1 hour and 45 minutes, carrying 3 prawns hiding in a rice desert like shy camels. The chicken is so overcooked, it could be used for cricket practice. The butter chicken tastes of ketchup that once read about butter in a book. Indians who know their spices sit stunned as neon red chicken cubes glow in the dark, dyed with colors that make your stomach send complaint letters the next morning. A vegetarian searches the menu and finds it has shrunk faster than wool in hot water. Prices, however, have ballooned. The chef, rumor says, is busy on TikTok, stirring virtual pots while the real ones burn. You leave paying premium prices for food that even the waiter seems afraid to taste. Need caffeine to wash away the trauma? Good Coffee Bar greets you with minimalist concrete, so cold your soul gets goosebumps. Order a large latte and receive half a cup because that flavor ended. But nobody tells you until your card is charged. The baristas chat about weekend plans while you wait 30 minutes for a single matcha to go 5 staff, 1 job, 0 urgency. A girl trying on a dress is surrounded by 3 employees who publicly search her bag because people steal. Another customer offers cash for Christmas gifts and is hissed at by the owner. Can't you pay by card? The coffee tastes like it was brewed through a printer. The vibe says, we are cooler than you. And the Wi-Fi password is probably sorry not sorry. If you still hope for nightlife, Cherry Club stands ready to stomp on that hope with high heels.
The bouncers decide what elegant means in the moment. Wear a suit and you are too formal. Wear sneakers and you are too casual, unless you are a girl in muddy shoes. Then you are perfect. Inside, 3 vodka Red Bulls cost 215 zloty, but the receipt never appears, so the numbers feel imaginary until your bank screams. The DJ plays the same song twice in 10 minutes. The dance floor is the size of a hospital elevator, and the beer runs out at 11, turning the club into a very.
So I've been looking into some unfortunate events near the Uniwersytet Medyczny im Piastów we rock you. You know, just to understand what is happening in this beautiful, historic place. It is really sad, but it seems like not everyone around here plays fair, especially with tourists who come for a short stay. There is this one story about a souvenir shop, just a stone's throw from the university. It is the kind of place that looks so inviting with all the colorful trinkets and traditional crafts. But apparently, they had this trick where they would overcharge tourists by claiming the items were limited edition or one of a kind. I mean, you Ray there, you want something to remember the trip by, and you don't want to offend anyone by haggling too much, right? So you pay. And then, what probably happens next is you walk out, feeling a bit uneasy, and then you see the same items in another shop for half the price. It's like, how could they? It's just wrong. I bet the victims felt really bad about it, you know, that sinking feeling in your stomach. And the scammers, well, they might get away with it for a while, but Karma-S got a way of catching up. People talk, and soon enough, that shop's reputation will be as tarnished as their business practices. Then, there's the story of this cozy little cafe nearby. It's got this charming vibe, perfect for a relaxing afternoon. But it turns out, they had a little menu scam going on. Tourists would order what they thought was a local delicacy at a premium price, only to be served something totally different and not nearly as special. I can just imagine the disappointment, you were expecting this culinary adventure, and instead, you get a microwaved meal. The tourists would probably be too polite to complain, pay the bill, and leave, feeling a bit cheated. And the cafe, well, once word gets around, their tables might start to empty, and they'll be left wondering why their cash register isn't as full as it used to be. It's really disheartening to see places that should be about creating happy memories resorting to these kinds of tricks. I mean, isn't it obvious that honesty is the best policy? But then you hear these stories, and you realize that not everyone got that memo. It just makes you want to shake them and say, how could you? That's someone's precious holiday you Ray messing with. So if you Ray planning a visit to the area around Uniwersytet Medyczny im Piastów we rock you, just be a bit cautious, okay? Keep your wits about you, and don't be afraid to ask questions.